Okay, so we're back for another one of these. So we were streaming last night. We were playing Tetris Effect.
Oh, clear. Look at that. Oh, I just got a fucking trophy. I'm so good. Oh, I fucked up.
And you said like how much that game blew you away and like how it changed your life and all of that. Now, it was
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. You said it. It was like, oh my God, my eyes are open is what I think.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, that's what you said. Some of the other comments on some of our other videos have mentioned like games that sort of changed us or like really sunk their teeth into us and like brought us into gaming, like made it to the point where we decorated our whole basement in video game merchandise and like what games those were for us. We can do like a top 5 games that really affected us.
We could try.
Ways. Yeah, we can give it the old college try. So for me, I mentioned in a previous video, game that really affected me was Resident Evil 1, going from the 16-bit, 8-bit era to the 3D era of the PlayStation, being told that, oh, this is a zombie game, horror game. And in my head, I'm picturing Castlevania, I'm picturing, you know, Master System style graphics. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing a 3D full motion video zombie tearing another person's flesh apart. Left a huge imprint in my brain. Really made me curious about what video games could be. Like if we reached that point, my brain, as I don't know how old I was, 10, 9, 8, something like that, was like, whoa, where is this going to be? Because if we're getting this is crazy. Really, really affected me emotionally, horrified me, changed me.
You won't walk past closets.
Yeah. I make sure every door is shut because zombies, when I was a kid, I shut every single door in the house because in Resident Evil, zombies couldn't go through closed doors. Like that's how much it messed with me.
And your parents just thought you were doing some real weird stuff.
Yeah, they were just like, wow, he really just wants the house clean or something. Yeah. I don't know. So that was a big one for me. Final Fantasy VII in that same regard was also like, wow, like just the scope, the cinematics, the character design, all that like kind of took me into the anime direction. So I think Final Fantasy VII was what like got me into anime, as weird as that sounds, but the hairstyles.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before.
All of that stuff of FF7. Once again, the cinematography, the movies, the graphics, the fidelity was, I'm picturing Final Fantasy VI. Once again, when like I'm like hearing about it, I'm picturing what I was playing on the Super Nintendo. And then when I get the disc from Toys R Us and I put it in there, totally was not what I was expecting and just blew me away. So that was a big one.
Always hit the reset button. Final Fantasy VII.
PlayStation.
Fallout 1 and 2 were games that changed my perspective of what games could be, because up until that point, you fired up a game and you went and you shot the boss, and then you moved to the next one, and then you moved forward and you shot enemies, and then you killed the boss, and then you moved on. The whole narrative aspect, everything changes depending on your character's stats and everything. Like if you play a dumb character, then certain quests are available. People talk to you differently. People react to you differently. Everything sort of changes in the world depending on the things that you do, and everything sort of mutates into something else in this like living, breathing RPG world. Up until that point, you know, you fire up Mega Man, you are Mega Man and you shoot a robot, right? You fire up Mario, you control a plumber and you jump on Goombas. But this was like so different, and like it warped my brain. Like I was like, wow, like you can beat Fallout 1, for instance. You can beat the end boss just from talking to him. Like that was like crazy to me. I was like, it's insane. Like imagine if in Mario you could just talk to Bowser and he's like, you know what, Mario?
Let's just try reasoning with them.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's great.
I don't think that I can
Continue.
to have done the things I have done in the name of progress and healing. It was madness.
That blew me away. After that, Phantasy Star Online obviously still affects me to this day. I still do a lot on this channel and a lot on Twitch with Phantasy Star Online because of how much it affected me. After that, once we get to the PS2 era, it really kind of fell off. And I don't know if it's just because I got older and the sort of the man behind the curtain was, you know, exposed, and I understood more about games. I understood how things were getting made. I understood
you got a little jaded.
All of that. Yeah, and I got jaded. I'm trying to think of games from that era that like really resonated with me. Rez on the Dreamcast is another one. That's why Tetris Effect, I was super excited for that, and Tetris Effect is one that totally blew me away too. Especially since I'm somebody with a huge like home theater and all this stuff down here. Tetris Effect is just amazing for that.
You joke about me like joining a Tetris cult or whatever, but in all seriousness, that game, that game blew my mind, and I just want to play it all day, every day.
What about you? What are your 5 games that sort of influenced you, or like really just blew you away and like just like changed you?
If I'm gonna focus on things that actually like influenced me like deeply, we got a little bit of overlap here, and also overlap of any time I talk about any video games, I always sort of default to the same short list of ones that I cannot break from, like my comfort games. And I would say probably the most influential was Kingdom Hearts, because it was my doorway into like all of them. Like basically, I mean, like when you're a little kid, like Mario's everywhere. Everybody's playing Mario, so it's not like I wasn't like exposed or playing it, but like it was just like fun video game, fun music, doot, 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 you know. But I wasn't like emotionally invested in Mario. Kingdom Hearts was my gateway because I was like RPG curious, you know, like I would see like Final Fantasy stuff, see all the commercials, like hear my friends talk about it and kind of see them play some of the different titles like in their basements and stuff when I was a kid, but like it was not attainable for me. I didn't have the hardware. So I was kind of like admiring it from afar, but then when Kingdom Hearts came out and I talked about this in the last video that we made when I first saw the commercials, and it was like all of that stuff that I was becoming really intrigued by, like artistically, and then slap some Disney on it. And I was like, there is nothing grander in this universe than this, and it must be mine. And that really opened me up to like wanting to just like devour Final Fantasy titles and things. So I'd say first that. It was also like the first game, like you know, big like RPG that like I took on just for me and beat all by myself. Then I'd say Final Fantasy X, because I played it very soon after Kingdom Hearts. And it kind of like showed me like themes in video games that like, I mean, again, like when I'm a kid, I'm thinking video games, I'm thinking Donkey Kong. Right. Yeah. You know, I'm thinking like Crash Bandicoot and stuff. And Final Fantasy X was like this just like gorgeous, like overwhelming thing, like with the music and with the characters, and like looking back, like it's still one of my favorite games, but like, I mean, it doesn't look as good as it did when I was 12. It shattered my expectations of like video games. Yeah. So that like the gravity of that game did a lot to my little brain. And then I'd say I played Final Fantasy VII after 10. Because I had to borrow it from somebody, and I didn't have it. And, that kind of sort of like what you were saying, it kind of showed me the scope of what a game can be. You know, not just the fact that it was 3 discs, but like the richness of the story, the richness of like the music, like wow. So that really broadened my horizons. And then I'd say, it's going to be a weird one, but Uncharted, because it taught me that maybe sometimes I might like a game that's not a JRPG or like some Pac-Man situation. Like I got it as a gift with my PlayStation 4 because my PlayStation 4 was the Uncharted
Oh, was it?
version
Yeah.
edition. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna give it a shot, but like action games just were not like my thing. And I was like, this is gonna be boring and I'm gonna hate it. But it was a present, so I'm gonna play it. And I loved it. Like I freaking loved it. I like immediately played the second and then the third and fourth were coming out, and like I think was it the third? Either the third or fourth, my brain is failing me, was the first game in like a decade that I was like, I'm going to the midnight release for this. Like, I want this game. So Uncharted taught me, don't always judge a book by its cover and try different things, even if you don't think, which, brought some other games into my life that I otherwise wouldn't have played. Animal Crossing, New Horizons.
New Horizons, not DDR.
I don't ever count DDR when I think about video games for some reason, because if we're gonna count DDR, then that's all 5. Frankly, all right. No, it's Kingdom Hearts at 4 DDR, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 7, and 4 DDR, 3 DDR. So it's because Animal Crossing hit me when it did, because I was not that interested in Animal Crossing like growing up. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Whatever. It just like I didn't really care. I thought it looked kind of like me. So when the pandemic began.
Yeah, that's a good point. I probably factored that, like that is a game that was an experience that
it was
changed a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about games changing people. People going through the pandemic with Animal Crossing is definitely one of those. Yeah. For
sure. And it gained like a movement that it definitely was not going to otherwise. No. I mean, not that it wouldn't have been popular.
Yeah.
But suddenly, like right on cue, this like alternate universe opened up for people at a time when we really, really, really needed an alternate universe.
I remember being at the grocery store and the person scanning our groceries was talking to another person over there about what fruit was on their island or something like that, and like everybody was just talking. Yeah, you would
hear those conversations.
Yeah,
like, you got Argus?
Everybody was just talking about their villagers, and it was like people that would
It was kind of like Pokemon Go.
It would never have played video games, or that you wouldn't think of, or like just the like old people, checkout people, like just bagging groceries.
People never play video
they
games.
don't. No, not at all. And just talking about it, and like you're just like in this like vortex of like everybody talking about Animal Crossing, and it was like so strange. So that is one that I think a recent game that really had that like kind of like moment in time effect on people.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about with some of my games. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think that was a really important game, and just the horrible stars aligned.
Yeah.
To bring us something beloved.
Yeah, I think in like 10, 15 years, there's going to be some hard nostalgia on Animal Crossing New Horizons because of that.
We're going to have to like talk to therapists about it.
Like people are going to go like, wow, like, oh yeah, like kind of like how like we're sitting here talking about these games from like the 90s that affected us. People are going to really, especially like kids, like 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds that were playing Animal Crossing during the pandemic, going to other people's islands, doing all of that.
It's going to be a lot to unpack.
Yeah, people are going to really think about that game again. People are really going to look back on those times, much like how we're talking about our times with FF7 or Resident Evil affected us. Those are going to be times that affected people, definitely.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting looking back on that. That's our list there. So I think we're going to do some more lists in the future, just about random stuff that we've been
wrong
through.
With a list.
No, I mean we go to anime conventions, we go to gaming conventions, we play tons of games, watch tons of anime, cosplay, all that stuff. We have so many lists of things that we could talk about.
I like lists.
So we will see you all in the future.
Yeah.
So
at some point.
A good one. Like, follow, subscribe, and follow the Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be good.
All right.